welcome to What's Cooking. Today we're going to cook with the Crockpot. Crockpots have been around for many, many years and they've changed a lot and they've made life a lot easier for us when it comes to cooking. We have some excellent cookbooks here at the library on Crockpot cooking, and I've prepared some dishes in one of the Crockpots that I have at home. I just purchased a really neat one that has like the 4-hour setting, the low, the high, the 8-hour setting, and it's great to cook with. I put everything in there and don't have to worry about it. So today I'm going to talk about some of the dishes that I did make with my Crockpot. But before I get into that, I want to just tell you a little bit about the Crockpots. That they all are different. Some of them are oval, some of them are round. Some of them, like I said, have different settings on them, depending on what you like for a Crockpot and what you like to make in there. So do a little research before you do pick a Crockpot. But no matter what you get, you will get excellent food out of them. Another thing to remember is, if you do make desserts in a Crockpot, if they have like a custard or cream, you have to keep it on for a long time, not short time, because of the milk and cream that's in them. So if you do make anything with a cream base, put it on high, not on low, because it has to cook through. Another thing too, if you're making meats like a beef stew or a pot roast or anything, they do ask that you sear the meat to lock in the juices, and it makes excellent because as it's cooking in the Crockpot, all those juices blend in with your potatoes or your carrots or your celery or whatever vegetables you like to make. And it's also excellent for meat dishes, vegetable dishes. Again, depending on your Crockpot, read your directions because some vegetables don't take much. And if you want a smoother wet vegetable or a creamier vegetable, then you have to read those directions on your Crockpots. So anyways, let's get started with some of the dishes that I did make. Our first one I did make was the chicken stew. Now, a lot of your chicken recipes in your Crockpots, you'll notice that they use chicken thighs, which is fine if you like the darker meat because it has a little more fat and it stands out better. But if you're like me and you like more of the whiter meat, like the chicken breast, it dries out. So you have to make sure that you use a lot of different seasonings or sauces in there to keep it going, and a lot of vegetables so that everything blends in pretty well. And in this chicken stew, I've used peas and carrots and potatoes, seasonings and celery, and a broth. You could also, in your grocery stores, you'll see these little packets called Crockpot sauces and gravies. It's great to use those too as well. But another tricky thing too is just be careful because they have a lot of sodium and seasonings. So if you use those plus seasonings, you might over season your stews. So use accordingly. So read your directions on some of those. The other thing, and seeing that it's wintertime and we all like comfort foods and we all like our soups, is a chicken noodle soup that I've made. Again, using low sodium chicken broth because I use different seasonings in there to kind of balance out the salt and seasonings. And it's great because you can put everything in there, again, put it on the hours that are listed, and then just make and wait and serve, which is great. Another dish I did was the pork, pulled pork. It's a little tricky there. Pulled pork. So what I did is I roasted the pork butt or pork shoulder in the oven a little bit, just to sear it a little bit, to lock in those juices. And then I put in the Crockpot with the sauce and the barbecue, no matter how. Some people like to use a plain, some like to put barbecue in it. I like to add a little tomato sauce and barbecue, kind of half and half it. And you leave it in there for about 8 hours. Again, depending on how you want your meat to be. And then you just take a fork and just split it apart, and it's great. Another thing is baked beans. Okay, so I read a lot about making baked beans before I set out to make them. Some recipes wanted you to soak the beans overnight. Some recipes said just use canned beans and then season them up to however you like. So again, it's your own preference how you like your baked beans. If you like to soak them overnight, put them in your Crockpot, add all your seasonings and gravies and whatever and vegetables like bacon and onion, so you can create your own recipe for the baked beans. But the end results are a great dish. I used regular baked beans in a can, like navy beans, and then I just added in the molasses and the maple syrup and the seasonings, and I just let it cook for about 8 hours, again on low, and you get great beans. If you want a creamier bean, then let it cook longer. And last but not least, we have over here meatballs. That's right, you can make meatballs. Again, make your meatballs like you normally would. I put mine in the oven, let them brown up a little bit, get some of the fat out of there. Then I put them in the crock pot, put whatever kind of sauce, your favorite sauce, make your own sauce, and I leave it again on low for 8 hours, and it's great. You can make sandwiches out of it, make a bowl of pasta and add it to it, and it just smells up your kitchen so nice, and it's easier, and you can store these foods for 3 to 6 months. Again, read your labels how you can store some of the foods. So you can make some of these foods and store them and then take them out, heat them up, and have home-cooked meals, all made in one pot and one time. I hope you enjoyed learning about crock-pot cooking, and next time you're out in the store and you're looking for a crock-pot, check them out because they have their own cookbooks and you can really make some amazing dishes, from desserts to main meals to soups. You can find many recipes with the crock pot. I hope you enjoyed this series of What's Cooking at Raymond. Have a good day.